My name is Rhonda Wood, and I'm so excited that you're here. You know, the number one challenge facing people and keeping them from reaching their dreams and goals today is that they are holding on to their past. Yes, we are letting the past hold us back. We have some chapters in our book that we don't want anyone to read. We have some secrets hidden behind closed doors that we don't want anyone to open. And we have some skeletons on the shelf in the closet that we don't want to come out. We have done some things in our lives that we believe holds us back from becoming what we want to be. And as a result, we've not accomplished all that we set out to do. So perhaps we've reached a point in our lives where we don't believe that we deserve more or that we deserve better. But when we focus on the past, it breaks our spirit and it robs us of our freedom. Those things keep us from reaching our goals and our dreams. Broken dreams from broken people, they still have purpose and they still give purpose. So I'm here to share with you that you don't have to be afraid of your past. You don't have to be ashamed of your past, and you don't have to run from your past. If this describes you, if you're listening to this session right now, I want you to pay attention. This conversation is specifically for you, and I'm here to tell you how you can break through to the life you want and achieve so that you can experience the ultimate life satisfaction and fulfillment. I want you to understand this. Your past does not define you. It prepares you. Your past problems and mistakes, they don't dictate your future. No matter what you've gone through, bad chapters can still create great stories. Wrong paths can still lead to the right places, and failed dreams can still lead to successful outcomes. You may still be wondering, is this conversation for me? So let me be clear. I know these are some tough and challenging times, and it's easy to slip into a place of hopelessness. If you are feeling bound to things that you've done in the past, I know you didn't mean for them to happen, and we all make mistakes. Here's what I want you to know. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are here on purpose, with purpose, for a purpose, regardless of what has happened in your life. I want you to hear me right now. If you're experiencing any uncertainty in your life, if you're not sure why you are here on earth, what is your reason for being here? You kind of look around and you see everyone happy and winning, and you're wondering, well, what is wrong with me? Why can't I have this happiness, successful, fulfilled life? If this sounds familiar, I want you to fasten your seatbelts and get ready to take a journey with me as I show you how to go from trials to triumph and how to grow through what you go through. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I know all too well what it means to be stuck in the past. I had tremendous pressure growing up, trying to be this model child, get straight A's, make the honor roll, graduate with honors, go to college, get a great job, climb that corporate ladder. I always had to be a good example. I wanted to be the apple of my parents' eye, their little, goody two shoes. But I realized I wasn't living the life that I wanted. I was living a life that everyone else wanted. I was even working at a job that was building someone else's dream rather than my own. So, in an attempt to do what I wanted to do, I became rebellious. I made a ton of mistakes and I messed up really bad. I ended up pregnant. Yes, unplanned, unwed, a single mom. I had become the statistic that I tried so hard all my life to avoid, and that the people around me were trying to prevent me from making. And so there I was, alone and abandoned and rejected, shunned by family, by close friends, by work folk, and even church folk, who can sometimes be the most judgmental people. That experience caused me to go into a very deep depression. And I remember while in a state of depression, I got a call from NAMI, which stands for the National Alliance for Mental Illness. NAMI wanted me to speak on a panel about mental health. So I was contacted by them and they extended my first opportunity for me to speak to an audience of close to 200 people. It included elected officials. I couldn't believe it. It included candidates and residents from my county. And I remember walking on that stage and just pouring my heart out about how I had ended up in that state of depression. And after I gave my presentation, I was amazed at how many people came up to me and shared with me how my story impacted their life. It was during that time that I knew, wow, I had discovered something inside of me. I had discovered a passion and a purpose. I no longer had to be ashamed of my past because I realized how much those experiences helped other people. Sharing my story made me feel so internally fulfilled that I got to help transform lives and connect with people that actually began to pursue speaking as a business. And I started to receive more opportunities to share my story, my message of empowerment on stages, in magazine articles, in the news, and I gained a few clients along the way. So here are some things that I want to share with you that helped me on my journey. One of the first things that I had to do was I had to remain positive, be positive. And I know that's not always easy when you're in a state of depression or you're feeling hopelessness. So in other words, there's always good in every situation. Give up the things that hold you hostage, the things that hold you back, the things that hold you down. The past does not dictate the future. I remember at one point walking into my therapist's office, and before every session, he always says, give me some good news, which I was never prepared to do. I knew I had a 45 to 60-minute session, and I had 45 to 60 minutes worth of problems and issues that had happened that I was ready to talk about. But he would never proceed until I gave him some good news. And what that taught me was that there's always good. We don't have to always focus on the negative. So one of my first things that I want to share to you is to always look for the good. Always be positive. The second thing that I want to share is to be present. When I stopped focusing on the past and I stopped being anxious about the future, it was easier for me to reclaim the ownership of my dreams and my vision. I got to kind of settle in my unique lane of brilliance. I got to rediscover the things that brought me joy. I didn't have to focus on what other people were doing. I didn't have to wonder, well, why are these things happening to me? There was no need for me to compare myself to other people, compete with other people. I didn't have to chase someone else's chapter because I was the author of my destiny. I realized that the things that were for me, designed and engraved especially for me. The next thing that I realized is that I had to be persistent. I Googled the word persistent, and the definition of being persistent is to continue firmly in a course of action, despite difficulty and opposition, refusing to let up or let go. I had to be persistent in not letting my past dictate my future. I had to be persistent and allow myself to push past what I would normally stop or normally turn back, normally run back to my comfort zone. So I had to push past those things and remain persistent in pursuing my goals and my dreams. The next thing, being purposeful. Remember, we are here on purpose, with purpose, for purpose. And when you realize that your past and even your most painful experiences are connected with your purpose, you will begin to live a more purposeful life. And you'll be in a position to use those experiences for a purpose that's far bigger and greater than you have ever imagined. And last but not least, being prayerful. The number one tool that we possess that is always readily available. It's free, always at our disposal. You know, there were so many times over the course of my life when I just felt down, when I felt rejected. You know, depression set in. I felt abandoned, I felt shunned, and I felt alone. Because of some of the things were mistakes that I had made, and some of the things were, you know, things that had happened to me through no fault of my own. But I knew that I couldn't focus on the past. I felt there were times when I had nothing, and the only person that I could talk to who I knew would always be there, who I knew would understand what I was going through, was God. Don't underestimate the power of prayer. A lot of times we feel like we need to always be in control. You know, I've always wanted to claim that strong Black woman as a badge of honor, but that doesn't always work. You know, 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, my power is made perfect in your weakness. You know, it's during those times when we hit rock bottom, you know, when we're feeling low, that's where we find our greatest strength sometimes. You know, these steps that I had to do, they helped me to become a higher, truer, and greater version of me. I didn't have to keep looking back. I was able to live up to my full potential. I was able to better understand that the things that I went through in my past were not mistakes. They weren't things that just haphazardly happened, and they weren't in vain. Even in times of uncertainty and difficulty and challenging experiences, you know, from the past, you can still discover the strength that you possess inside, and that you can go from those trials to triumphs. So here's the thing. So you grow through what you go through when you realize you don't have to hold on to or be bound or run away from your past. You grow through what you go through when you realize your past experiences are connected to a higher purpose and used for a greater purpose. You grow through what you go through when you understand that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You grow through what you go through when you realize that you are here on purpose, with purpose, and for a purpose. You grow through what you go through when you understand that God uses every part of your past and every mistake. Nothing is wasted. Every tear, every wrong turn, every error, God uses it all for something far better and greater than you can imagine. You grow through what you go through when you recognize that our past experiences, they build strength, they develop our perseverance, they develop character and some of the other qualities that we need to live out our God ordained purpose. You grow through what you go through when you recognize that you don't have to live in shame or guilt or remorse or anything else regarding the past. You can start over as often as you need. You can step out of the silence and secrets and the shame and the stigma, and you can embrace your truth of who you are and what you are becoming. You grow through what you go through when you recognize that your past experiences were not just about you. Just like in my case, me sharing my experiences about my mistakes and my past and depression, it helped to, it resonated with other people, and it helped to transform their lives. You know, I realized that what I have survived is sometimes what other people are struggling with. And I realized how much my story helps other people overcome. So you grow through what you go through when you recognize that your past does not define you, it prepares you. And you don't have to put a period where God put a comma. You grow through what you go through, and you don't give up when God wants you to keep going. You grow through what you go through when you are able to embrace your calling as a comeback champion, as someone who at some point during their life, they stumbled across some challenges and some difficulties. They climbed over their hurts, they stepped over their pains, and they recovered from past mistakes. Along the way, they discovered the strength that they possess inside to overcome those challenges or difficulties. That's the comeback. But then they use their comeback experience to not only inspire others, but to help them achieve the same. That's the champion. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I, again, am so happy that you're here. My name is Rhonda Wood. I hope this was helpful. I hope this resonated with you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Comeback Champion Summit.